Hello everybody, it's your boy N here. I'm coming at you guys with another YouTube video. So in today's video, it's going to be the most updated builds for Bunny, and quite literally a Bunny build for absolutely everything. Now, this includes builds for Dungeons, for Sigma Sector, for Void Vessel, for Axion, for Purge, and even for Colossus. This is going to be a long video. Every single build will be shown and explained in my build segment, and then I'll show some gameplay and stuff like that. So basically, sit back, lock in, make sure to pay attention, and yeah, let's not waste any time and let's get right on into today's video. So let's begin with the Dungeon/Sigma Sector build for Bunny. Very simple, very easy. Now with this build, this is what you're going to want to go with. It's an electric condense build which takes advantage of very high cooldown and basically just annihilates everything. For your modules, this is what you are going to want to go with. You're going to want to go with max cooldown with MP conversion, nimble fingers, focus on electric and singular. Because Bunny, in dungeons at least, non-crit is more than good enough. You're just going to want electric and singular amplification to back that up. 2 range mods, expansion and amp control, and then you have 2 slots for quality of life. With this, I go with MP collector because I usually use Slayer set with Bunny. You can also use 2 pieces of hunter and 2 pieces of mage, but it's completely back and forth and up to you. And maximize conservation is also present because, again, of Slayer set. But if you do want to change this and you want more damage, then electronic Synctium would be a very good call, especially the electric skill power. Or if you want a different option, spear and shield would be your other option. Now with this, I do use Slayer set. You can change this to 2 pieces of hunter and 2 pieces of mage. I will show you gameplay of that a little bit later. For your reactor, fairly simple. Electric singular, and then you want cooldown as a non-negotiable on your reactor, and then singular or electric is completely fine. I personally do prefer the cooldown and singular variant of it because, you know, more scaling damage. So yeah, that's just me. As for your tree, this is the tree you are going to want to go with as a 100% of a base. This tree has been reworked because Bunny's been buffed because of the reactor and tree changes. So you're just going to want to go straight up to here, grab skill power, grab cooldown, grab electric cohesion for dungeons, and then your final 4 nodes are completely optional. If you want to go there and grab more HP, or you want to go up here and grab more enhanced MP recovery modifier, feel free to do so. It really doesn't matter anyways. I'm just going to grab some additional HP on Bunny. Not like she needs it anyways, but this is what you'd want to do for your tree. You can completely gamble it or do whatever you want. As for your weapon, I do use a Peacemaker. You can use any other weapon though. The main thing you want on here is at least 1 sprint core and 1 grapple core. So yeah, make your peace with whatever, and that's basically that. For your inversion, you're going to want to run focus boost for skill cost, and then I use selective neurostimulation as well as pain suppression. So yeah, that's basically the build for Bunny, at least for dungeons. Let's get on into some dungeon gameplay. So let's have a quick look at some dungeon gameplay. Now with this, you can see Bunny hits incredibly hard. She absolutely nukes the room and just, you know, demolishes everything that is around her. Now, the main gameplay loop of Bunny with this build is using your second ability and then running around with your third ability and letting that rip everything apart as well. Then you use your first and fourth ability. This will basically allow you to absolutely just nuke everything within a radius. Her first ability can hit up to 12 mobs at once, so make sure you are spamming that because it is definitely a very good way to clean the room up. And using the electric condense to absolutely nuke everything as well is also something you are going to want to do. Now I'll show the boss fight for this as well. This will be a good indication for how you can expect bosses to go. Even though I am playing solo, I promise you playing Bunny in public will basically play the exact same. If you do want the cooldown on your electric condense to be slightly quicker, instead of a Slayer set, just use 2 pieces of hunter and 2 pieces of mage. You will still get almost as good damage, and then you will definitely also get significantly faster cooldown. You can see here, just jumping in the right spot, you just nuke everything. I did get a pretty bad grapple over here, and I didn't manage to swipe both of the boss at the same time, so this is very bad boss gameplay. But you can see here, even with bad boss gameplay, you absolutely rip everything apart inside of this dungeon. Enough said with Bunny over here. Next up, let's have a quick look at some Sigma Sector gameplay. And in Sigma, it is basically exactly what you expect anyways. You can see Bunny just running around. Using her condense on all of these elites is more than good enough to just, you know, rip them all apart. And because of the range on the condense, you can absolutely shred everything as well. This is basically exactly what you'd expect from Bunny anyways, so I'll just let you guys watch a little bit of this gameplay in Sigma, and then I will move on over to the next build.
Drifting in the dark, chasing fading echoes. Every word we spoke disappeared in the void. Lost from the rhythm, drowning in sorrow. Tell me, is there a tomorrow?
Next up, let's have a look at the Bunny Purge build. So, let's get right on into it. With the Purge build, it is, again, a max cooldown build for Bunny. However, this one is a crit build. We're still using Condense because we're going to nuke the daylights out of everything. We've got max cooldown with MP conversion, Nimble Fingers, Focus on Fusion, and Focus on Electric. You can use Focus on Singular, but it doesn't really make that much of a difference. Majority of your damage is going to come from your first ability, the Throw Bomb, and the Electric Condense being the first ability, so I do recommend Focus on Fusion. Other than that, we're going with all 4 crit modules because we do want Crit Bunny to, of course, you know, crit. We're going with 1 range module only because Purge, the tile sets are not that big, so 1 range module is enough range to nuke everything. And then we are going with Maximize Conservation, which is going to allow you to run around with basically almost infinite MP and allow you to spam your abilities, especially with this setup on Bunny. Now, for the reactor on this one, it's going to be a electric fusion reactor, so a tingling one, and on this one you want cooldown as a non-negotiable and crit damage for the maximum damage output. For your components, you are going to want to go with 2 pieces of the Enlightened Mage set, same stats as what you see on screen, and then 2 pieces of the Hunter set. Again, same stats as you see on screen. With this, you could also use 2 pieces of Ascending Armory, but I just don't feel like it's necessary, and you would want more damage overall, so Mage is the right call. You do also want a Blue Beetle for this. I recommend 1 Sprint Core and 1 Grapple Core on there, because when you have this 5 out of 5 fusions, the unique ability allows you to get increased crit chance when using a fusion ability, so when using Bunny's first or 4th ability, we'll be getting an increased crit rate. That's exactly what we want with this setup as well. Next up for the arcade tuning tree. For the tree, it still remains the same. We're going to go all the way up to where the enhanced skill power is. We're going to go up towards the enhanced cooldown, up towards electric cohesion, and then we're just going to grab crit rate and crit damage. Crit is better than skill power in this instance because we already have an absolute ton of it. You can see here we're bordering on 3000, so it doesn't really make that much of a difference, but this is the tree you're going to want to run. Next up for your inversion, same principle, skill cost, and then neurostim and the pain suppression. So, now let's get on into some Purge gameplay for Bunny. Now with the Purge gameplay for Bunny, the gameplay loop is very similar. Now with the way that Bunny got reworked essentially with her last big buff, she kind of became a spam all your abilities character. As you can see here, the main loop I am following is put my electric condense on and then use my first ability a few times, let my electric condense go off and rinse and repeat. The best way to look at it is make sure your second ability is on, make sure your third ability is on, and then I follow the pattern. 4, 1, 1, 1, 4. When you cast your electric condense, you can cast your first ability 3 times, and then your condense will be pushed into a literal perfect loop, so you can just keep spamming and repeating your loop like that exactly, and it will be perfect. You will have condense ready every single time, and that's basically the loop that I follow. If you do want to use this a little bit differently and, you know, just spam your first ability, you can absolutely do that, and just spam your fourth ability whenever you get your chance. Feel free, honestly, it does work, it's completely fine. Now, with this, you can see how the build is playing into effect. It's a very, very, very low skill cost build, and generally it just, it shreds. You can see here, I've already almost completed this entire purge in, well, just over a minute and a little bit. We're on to the boss fight, and I've literally used 1 minute and 12 seconds at this point, so it can definitely be faster, and especially with crit fishing as well, it can become significantly faster too. You can see here I got a nice crit, but then I didn't get a nice crit again with the second condense, so there's definitely more that can be done. But all in all, this run was literally completed in a staggering 1 minute and bang on 30 seconds. So there you go. Next up, let's quickly have a look at Void Vessel Bunny. Now with Void Vessel for Bunny, specifically, there's basically only one change. You just change Maximize Conservation for amplification control for more range. The mobs in this dungeon do drop more MP, and you'd want to also compensate by using 2 pieces of Ascending Armory. Another thing you can do is use the MP generating husky, so the Snowy Sled Dog. That would help you with MP a little bit as well. It's not a major issue, especially if you are playing solo. If you are playing squads though, I would say compromise your range and go back to maximize conservation, and basically just stick with using the purge setup and switch this back to mage. So using the purge / vessel setup, they're both very, very similar and require very little change between them. Now let's get on into some vessel gameplay. Vessel gameplay is, well, basically bog standard at this point, so you guys know what to expect when it comes to this one. Same gameplay loop applies. Using 4-1-1-1-4 with Bunny is just going to absolutely melt / nuke the entire room. It's basically just about getting lucky with crits, especially on some of the elites. But you can see here, the general mobs absolutely get annihilated by Bunny. I don't really need to show you Bunny annihilating everything. It's literally the same in every single room. It's pretty much exactly as what you'd expect anyways, so we'll just hold off on going crazy with it now. You do want to be careful with this specific room though, because you can always get one shot nuked by the electricity. I think I do in this instance. Yeah, I do. There you go. You can always get one-shotted in that specific room, in this specific bit. So just make sure you're a little bit careful with that, unlike me. But you can see here, once that's over, straight back into the 4-1-1-4 loop, and just absolutely annihilating everything, so on and so forth. You've seen Vessel a million times before, because you all love the sword grind to death, am I right? But yeah, okay. Let me get on into definitely the biggest part in today's video. Next up, let's have a look at the Bossing Bunny build. Now, I'm going to give you the crit version and the non-crit version. Let's start off with the crit one. With the crit one, this is what you are going to want to run. Now, over here, this is where it gets very interesting, so pay attention, especially for this bit. Now, with this crit build, you're going to go with all 4 crit mods: Insight, Concentration, Frontlines, and Emergency Measures. The main thing for Crit Bunny is essentially having as much cost as you can. With this, we use Final Wish, we use Maximize Conservation, and Strong Mentality. And then you have your optionals. Now, Wave Eruption. This is the trigger mod that changes this build in a groundbreaking way. When you use this trigger module, this damage on additional damage per stacks with 25 stacks does use the element from your reactor. So let's say, for example, we put a chill reactor on Bunny. This will now be inheriting chill from the reactor and give you chill stacks and 109 damage per additional stack. So essentially, whatever element on your reactor you have, especially for a fusion reactor with Bunny, this is going to allow you to shift your elements with Bunny. This slot over here that's empty, this is for matching your element as well, but with the Synctium mod. So let's say, for example, I am using a chill reactor, I would slot in Glacial Synctium. If I'm using a fire reactor, I would use Fire Synctium. Toxic reactor, Venom Synctium. You understand how it works anyways. If you are struggling with HP on this build, then I would recommend replacing your spear and shield with a HP module. However, it's completely up to you. It does take a little bit of getting used to, but you can easily just slam HP amplification or any other HP or damage module over here instead. Next up, let's talk about the reactor. You always want a fusion reactor. It doesn't matter if you're not meeting the first standard requirement. Fusion buff is what we need, and for the substats, essentially you are going to want fusion and crit damage, or sorry, fusion and colossus damage. If you are playing with a buffing Luna that can give you 100% crit rate, then I would recommend colossus and crit damage, but it's very close between them anyways, and either reactor would work perfectly good. Now with the external components, again, you just want cost. 2 pieces of ascending armory and 2 pieces of mage is going to be essential over here with that. With your arcade tuning tree, this is essentially what you are going to want to go with as well. With this, we're going to grab the enhanced skill power, we're going to grab the colossi damage, and then we are also grabbing this new mutant cell, which is a fusion power skill boost ratio, depending on how much HP you have missing, with a 17% increase. Now, the way you would do this is take some damage in the fight deliberately. Especially in Lava Citadel or higher level fights, it's very easy to just take damage, or Wall Crasher, because I will show some gameplay of that as well. However, if you have this on and you don't take damage, don't worry about it. It doesn't make a massive difference, is a lie. It makes a very big difference, but that is the cell we're going to be using. For your inversion, you essentially just want to slam the cost on for the 0.8% difference, the emergency antibody, and then also the chill rounds. With the chill rounds, we are going to be pairing this up with the Kingsguard Lance. The main thing you want to do with the Lance is essentially just shoot it down and make sure you've got brisk walk on it so that you can run a little bit faster. You just shoot it down and then you run around, simple as it gets. Now with this as well, if you want to turn off damage or health regeneration, you just turn off the 3rd row with recovery, and then this will not self-recover. You don't have to turn it off, but if you want to, it does make a difference, especially if you're trying to speedrun. Now that is the crit variant of this build set up, done. So let me show you some gameplay. Now with the crit variant of this setup, it is more ideal to use Luna as your support. With Luna as your support, you can get a 100% crit rate, especially with her red buffs, and then you can also get more damage out of her blue and more modifier out of her purple. But you can see here, my teammate Apocalyptos, shout out my homie, he is rocking Luna, and you can see here, my Kingsguard Lance is popping a bunch of damage, and my crits with Bunny are insane. You can see 9.9 million crits on her chill because of the reactor, and then we are also getting 4 million crits or lower crits with actual electric damage. Once he gets knocked over in a moment, you're going to see this number rise to an absolute insanity. You can see 11 million now, with the lower crit being about 6 million, which means in total we're hitting about 17 to 18 million damage per crit, and these crits are consistent because of Luna. If you use this without Luna, your crits will of course be not as consistent, and I think without Luna it is slightly better to run the non-crit variant. We will get into that a little bit later. Let me give you one run real quick from Apocalyptos, because he loves crit fishing and he's got better RNG than me, inside of the Lava Citadel. Now in Lava Citadel, you can watch the way my homie Apocalyptos pulls up with the setup. Now this is how you would use Bunny in here. You use her 3rd ability and then her 1st ability, you put down some Kingsguard Lances, and then you just go all in with the crits. You can see Apocalyptos deliberately taking damage to trigger the mutant cell, and as you can see here, he's just fishing the turtle, knocking him in his weak points whilst he's down, and constantly jumping because Bunny's passive does do damage and we want to inflict as much damage as we can. Currently Apocalyptos does have the fastest time in the game based on this recording, because we did this like as soon as the update came out for the reactor. That basically changed the way this game plays. Now you can see here he's going all in with the damage on the turtle, just jumping around him slightly to inflict the passive damage, as well as basically just preying on some good crits. And as you can see here, his crits are ridiculous, 9-10 million crits everywhere, and you can see he got an absolutely ridiculous run over there. It doesn't show it because the clip cut off because Xbox sucks, but he did end up hitting number 1 and a 47-second run in that gameplay. Now let me give you the non-crit variant. This one would be particularly better in solo, or if you just want to chill farm. Now, the rest of the setup stays the same. The arcade tuning tree has slightly changed. Instead of going up to crit, we go down to arcade efficiency enhancement. This is just straight up damage and will immediately reach 4 stacks when you use her 4th ability, which is the beam. Now, with this as well, I'm going to slam on a fire reactor in this instance, so I will be using fire modules to compensate for this. Other than that, still same 2 pieces of Ascending, same 2 pieces of Mage, same Kingsguard Lance for the exact same setup, same inversions and everything of the sort. For the actual modules though, this is where it changed slightly. Instead of using the 3 or 4 crit mods, this is what we will be doing instead. You'll be running Maximize Power for more modifier, Fire Amplification, and Fire Synctium specifically because we are matching it to the reactor. The Fusion Amplification, which in this instance is of course, you know, fusion. Then for our final module, we're using conditional recharge. When you spawn into the fight, as you've seen in the gameplay, you will be using your first and your third ability for more damage, and then conditional recharge will basically force the mutant cell over here to proc immediately whenever you run it. If you do not want this mutant cell on and you just want it to play naturally, you can replace conditional recharge with HP as well. So, you know, if you're feeling a little bit unsure and you still want to learn the fight, slam HP amplification on and boom, you got 14,000 HP. You'll be more than good to go. With that, I do recommend, of course, running conditional recharge though. Now, if you are to use this specific build against normal Colossi, Dangerous Ambush is perfectly good. You're gonna annihilate them anyways. If you do want to use this on other Colossi anyways and you're struggling, Final Wish is another good call. With Final Wish, the higher the level is, the less damage you do. So using a lower level Final Wish like a level 3 or even a level 5 or 6 or whatever is technically a good call. It just depends on how comfortable you are. So I would suggest getting a Final Wish, leveling it up and seeing how it plays for you. Basically that's it. Using ambush on here is also another good call. In this instance, I'm just going to leave Final Wish on over there, and let's go run this in a bunch of bosses and I'll show you how this fares. Well, clearly based off what you saw from the other build, you know that the non-crit variant of this build is absolutely going to annihilate as well. It's the same gameplay loop, and you can see here, once Gluttony's done his smash, I activate my beam, and even with this, it's just ripping them apart. You essentially just want to match your reactor, and that's pretty much it. Nuking the rest of the Colossi is pretty self-explanatory. Now, this is just a short montage of Bunny just annihilating a bunch of the Colossi, so, you know, that's basically everything you need to know. But anyways guys, that's been today's video and I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you did, please do smash that like button, and if you're new here, please do consider subscribing. I make plenty of videos on the first Descendant, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.